Shalom for some of you that are in the Western world.
Yeah,
It's nighttime
that
where
is
we are.
behind the time that we are in.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's about 10 o'clock here, so it's not
It
Shabbat for
is.
us.
It is.
I know some
It's
people be
long
like,
over now.
what you doing? But yeah, all praise to the Most High. Shalom, shalom, family. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I know you guys saw the title. Do you believe it's true?
You threw me off. Do you believe it's true?
Are you
The
so
title
funny?
is America to Africa 2025.
Yeah, moving from America
America
to
to
Africa,
Africa
or I guess I should
2025.
say, do you believe that it's possible for you? Do you believe that? Do
The
you
state
believe
of the diaspora.
moving from America to Africa is possible for you? Because as we know, it's a lot of things happening in the West, in the States, in America. Um, it's going to be troubling pretty soon. It's already a lot of stuff that's happening with crime rising,
Mm.
with
Plantation text messages rising.
yeah, people. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
That was just foolish.
yeah.
They're doing it
I
as a
don't.
joke, but the fact that they would even joke like that, these college students, tells you the psychology of these white supremacists and these coming from Ohio, was it Indiana, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky. And
Yeah.
we're from Ohio. If you're new here, we're a journey with us, a digital nomad family of seven that has been traveling Southeastern Africa and investing, doing business, running remote companies, building cabins in the woods, you know, so many wonderful things since 2020
Yeah.
when we left and did not return, because a lot of people, they come to Africa, then they return, but we knew when we left we were not going to return. If you want
Mm-hmm.
to know why, go look at our last live, because that was what the last live was about, the
Mm-hmm.
calling of the Abraham position.
Mm-hmm. And that brings me to what what is the difference between moving to Africa in 2020 and moving to Africa 2025, I should say, since it's like a month and a half away, pretty much.
Ooh, that's a lot. And time has gone by so fast.
So
Like, I
fast.
can't believe it's
Yeah.
2025 that we've been here this long and that we've diversified in this way. I think the difference, hmm, I'd, it's not much of a difference. Though. I'd say it's life or death. But back in 2020, it was life or death, but people didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
People took these jabs and things in 2020, 2021, trusted in that system, and then wound up dead or with strange illnesses, passing out. Y'all remember that? What was that? It was a documentary that was on one of those like Bumble channels.
Mm.
What was it called? Falling Out or something like that. It was
No, it
some
was I'm not sure.
falling out. It
Something.
was
It was
something where
deep.
the people were passing out
Yeah.
from the large blood clots. Somebody's gonna
Yeah.
leave it in the
Yeah.
comments.
If you guys know what we're talking about, please leave it in the comments because I think we probably gonna watch it after
Falling out
this.
something. What
Cause
was it
that was
called? Yeah,
good.
we
That was
should
like,
watch it
man,
again
that's some truth right there.
if
And
we can
they,
remember the name.
yeah, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Not falling out. It was like, oh man,
We get it. Let's
yeah.
start. Okay, yeah. If anybody know, please.
Pass suddenly.
No,
Yes,
was it
pass
past suddenly?
suddenly. Yeah, or
Something like that.
it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass suddenly, something like that.
Okay. Let's. Yeah. That
Died.
suddenly.
See,
There you go.
see,
Yeah.
wrong synonym. Died
Yeah.
suddenly. Oh man.
Yeah. We probably going with that because that was some truth right there.
Mm.
But that kind of makes me think about what we was talking about today. How there is a lot of truth that's coming out, but do people really care about the truth? Or they just so used to the lies and the fakeness, and they don't want to know, or they just they see truth right in their face, and then they just let it pass over their head and don't worry about it
That's a shame.
because time is moving super fast. Um, and it's like so much stuff that happened this year. If you think 3 months ago, I'm
It's
not
too
like
much.
with Donald Trump,
It's
um,
too much.
with the people trying to attempt to take his life and stuff, that was recent. That
That
wasn't
was
like years
recent.
ago.
That's true.
That
That was
wasn't. It
recent.
was like a couple months ago.
Yeah.
So it's like, man, that
Yeah.
the dang, what am I trying to say?
Oh no, you
the cyber,
snapping.
the
Oh,
cyber
the cyber
attacks.
attack. I forgot
Yeah,
about that. Yeah,
it's
it
like,
has
dang,
been a
it's like
lot
so
this
it's
year.
so much that happened this year, and it's like we forget about it, and act like nothing really happened. It's like a day to day life that you have to live. You have to survive and stuff.
Yeah.
But you really got to put your mind on high and really prepare because it's gonna just continue like that
Right. We
if
ain't
you
seen
allow it.
nothing yet. This is
If you allow it,
2024.
yeah,
My goodness, we ain't seen nothing yet
yeah,
for this whatever's about to be going down in America. And then,
right.
Trump just announced, he believes it's Iran that tried to assassinate him. So you can just imagine what the implications
What
will
they're
be
trying to
for that
push,
across
yeah.
the world, what that's going to look like. You can compare it to 9/11. And, Candace Owens has such a good video we watched earlier. Her most recent video, I don't care if you agree with her or not on a lot of things, you can agree to disagree, but when somebody has truth, you need to listen. And she had this ex CIA guy on there, and he was talking about how they set him up. Now, this is someone that was a part of that agency, but they set him up. It just really pulled the curtain all the way back for anyone that thought that they could trust in the American system.
Hmm.
Pull it. And this guy, he's white, he's European. He's their, the type of person that you would think you wouldn't be doing that to. No, fam. They tried to kill his whole family, take them out. And he was one step ahead because he knew how they operated. You see how he could tell how his enemy operated because he was within them and knew how they acted? We growing up had close proximity to these people, and so it's like going back to try and tell you guys that aren't in proximity or don't understand these things, that are just now like, oh, let's vote Trump, yeah, everything's good, let's just stay, let's just live in the suburbs. It's like they smile on their face. That's what our people don't understand. For so long, our people have had a lack of understanding. And this is why you need to start to move from America to Africa in 2025. Make your plans now. Make
Yeah,
them as quickly as possible. And if you're somebody that's like, well, I can't do it that quickly, guess what? When we were in the same situation as you, you couldn't get us out quick enough. We were waiting
hmm,
on our son's passport. Had his passport not taken 5 months to come, we would have jetted out of that country even sooner than we did.
hmm.
It could not come fast enough. No fear. No
Yeah,
fear.
you gotta just increase your belief. Just increase because um that's just what it is. It's gonna be a lot of stuff that is gonna get taken away where you have to increase in the word to have his word solid in your heart. Like
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, and you have to be frequent and stable with your own mindset, right? Because right now, what you're experiencing is the dissonance and separation from this slowly collapsing empire of the West. No matter how strong the dollar looks right now, it's more than just this indicator of the dollar being strong that shows whether a country's doing well. You have to look at the spiritual state of the country. Are people repopulating, having children? Are people marrying and being given into marriage? Are people divorcing in record numbers and remarrying? These are signs of a destructed society, a society that is giving birth to death. Literally, when you look at the rate of illness in the country, the rate of stress amongst Black and white Americans, it doesn't even matter anymore. It's just on an entire level. The elites don't care. The deep state, whoever they don't care. And so you have to ask yourself, why would I stay in this country that is on a path to destruction from the inside out? Why would you stay there? Instead, you should
Mhm.
be thinking about, okay, how can I get peace, stability, freedom in my life and in my children's lives, my children's lives? How can I get to safety? Well, the logical thing to do would be to start looking at visa free countries for Americans, look at the safest countries in Africa, look at countries that have business viability for you, because you don't want to have to. So many people end up doing this. They end up coming to Africa, then either have to go back or the family has to split, and one parent or one person out of the family goes back to make money, but you don't need to do that if you plan strategically before you leave and initiate these things before you go. This is where strategic planning comes in handy, big time. And then you want to look at going to places that have neutral politics. You don't want to be in the middle of World War III zone. You don't want to be in the middle of nobody's fight. Africa, even though America's complex, Africa also has a lot of complexities and a lot of puppet masters.
Mm.
So you want to understand the dynamics of the places you're going. For example, we just saw a headline where Botswana says they're going to let Zimbabweans in who are undocumented in the country. They're going to give them some peace and stability. They're not going to jail them. They're
Yeah.
going to help them get on their feet. It is not so in every African country. We've lived in African countries where it's the exact opposite. Literally seeing Eritreans and Ethiopians struggle in their East African community because of policy. So when we see somewhere like Botswana saying, oh, yeah, Zimbabweans, you can come in and it won't be an issue, that's a good sign. Look for countries that are like that. The country we're in right now, Nigerians, Ghanaians, South Africans, people, Tanzanians come from all over, study here, or they get a job here and they're stable. It's not so in every African country.
Mhm.
It's just not so, especially a country that we've lived in. Now,
Yeah.
this one, it's the exact opposite. Also understand that not all these countries are the same. There's 54 different countries.
Yeah, I was
They're
just about
not
to
all the
say, man,
same.
they not all the same. Like really. And we're starting to really understand that and realize like how in a way that's a blessing if
It
you choose the
is.
right country. I mean, the right country is only for you. You only know what the right country is for you. Um but it is some beautiful Africa is just beautiful in general, every single country. But the thing that gets me is about the institution and the government behind it and how corrupt a country will be over another country. So
Hmm.
you really got to pay attention to which countries are not so corrupt,
Yep.
and that would probably help you. Like
Yep.
really, that would narrow down your list
Yep.
of choosing the right country, because yeah, it's some good countries here to sustain yourself and really and really live a piece of peaceable life.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
really.
Rwanda, Ghana's pretty good on the peace index, Seychelles, Mauritius. What other countries? Those are like some of the top ones that come up on both the peaceful index and the least corruption. Senegal is another one that's visa free for Americans, comes up on the least corrupt
Mm.
index. These are things that are so important to look into as you're moving from America to Africa, right? And Kenya is on the up and ups. I mean, just looking at what Kenya is doing, it's doing some good things. Having, flown Kenyan Airways and dealt with different Kenyan, even employing Kenyan people. They are a very trustworthy people. They're a very hardworking people. The interactions that we've had with Kenyans in various interactions has been very good. I just look back like, wow, going through Kenyan Airways, having them help us as we left Tanzania, it was just so refreshing to have other Africans that were of different countries understand, say, yeah, that's messed up. That's completely messed up. Let me stick up for you. That when you encounter something like that, that is just so refreshing. So Kenya is a good one. The people there are good, good with business, like they get stuff done, it works out. Versus if you choose a country where business viability isn't really a thing, that's where things can become excruciatingly difficult for no reason. And it's just like running your wheels in the mud. But you have a little bit more leverage if you
Mm.
have an online business and you're not just relying on a brick and mortar. This is why we tell people don't just all the way throw out everything that you had in America. That's just foolish. Even the children of Israel, when they left Egypt, the Most High through Moses told them, go back to Pharaoh and ask him for the gold and silver that you're going to need on the way out. That's just wisdom. That's just wisdom because it takes resources, currency, food, whatever it is, to actually go into different
Hmm.
territories. That's just the reality of it. But Botswana is another one of those countries, especially with the new president they have. They are on the least corrupt index. They are visa free for Americans. Now you'd have to look into what your visa situation will be, because there are like four categories of visas that you find throughout most of the world. You find student visa, you find volunteer visa, you find investor/business visa, then you find digital nomad visas usually. Those are like the four types. The fifth, which doesn't apply to everybody, would be retirement. But once you understand these five systems, you know what to look at in each country that you're interested in. When you understand that there are those main five systems, you know what to look for.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because it's important that you go to a country where there's not this tension, where they treat other African people well. I was also watching another video earlier from King Ganda, who was talking about how in Uganda, some of the Eritreans that are moving there, they'll want to be treated well, but the Ugandans will see them as Mzungu or foreigner. And like the Eritrean lady was talking about, yeah, we're just Orthodox Christian. We just came here to just live a peaceable life. They haven't had a lot of bad things happen to them, or she specifically didn't. But you will find the Ugandans, like they were saying on the podcast, Kenganda, you should go check out the video. They were saying that you will find some of those bad situations where they're coming at them like, oh, we don't want you in the country. Why are you here? But they won't act like that with the Chinese or the Lebanese. Is that how you say Lebanese? Lebanon, Lebanese. They won't act like that with these different people, but they'll only do that with African people. You want to veer away from countries that are like that, because that means self-hate is in full force, and you cannot help anybody that hates themselves and you. It won't work out. You can't lift somebody off the ground that hates themselves and you. They first need to love themselves to even be able to love yourself as you love your neighbor. You can't love yourself as you love your neighbor and love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself.
Mm.
So you have to be aware of that. And this is where biblical principles are so important, not just from this religious, spirit of religion standpoint. You really have to understand and discern what's right in front of your face. A lot of people lack discernment, both in America and then outside of America. So get the discernment before you leave and start to understand these dynamics, because these are important things to look out for. It really just goes back to those first two commands, which are the most important of them all. Do not have any other gods before the Most High, and love your neighbor as yourself. When you scope out and you don't make excuses for people's iniquity and transgression, then you can see things clearly, and you can just clearly see what's in front of you without saying, well, oh, it's Africa and I love black skinned people. I love the African people and black skinned people too. But if the African, this black skin ain't lining up with the word, then you got to discern something got to give, or else I'm making this person or this entity to be God over me, when that's only reserved for the Most High Yah. This is how we as a people have to operate when we are coming back to these lands, because you deal with a lot of principalities in Africa,
Hmm.
and you have authority over them all if you have discernment to understand what you're dealing with, because the people perishes for the lack of knowledge. If you can't discern what's going on around you, you're going to have a difficult time, and you're just going to be spinning your wheels over and over, making excuses for people that are literally trying to trap you. Same thing in America with that guy who was talking to Candace about that CIA. That episode was crazy. I don't know if anybody saw that episode, but I would almost watch it again. Like, it was just so jacked up. I was like, they tried to poison this man's entire family. He bugged his house because he's an ex-CIA operative. And so he says they put some kind of paint on his walls. His wife was bedridden, couldn't get out of bed. His son, they said his immune system was shot out. I was like, and this is the country that everybody loves and says is the best country on earth, killing people from the inside out. And they always have. They always have. I was like, that is next level. If that don't wake you up right there and tell you in the wrong nation, I don't know what else will, because that was quite disturbing. That was very, very disturbing. So yeah, y'all, that look, you gotta stay aware, you gotta be strategic, but don't be anxious for anything. The word says to ask the Most High by prayer and supplication, make your requests known to Him. So that's the other caveat with you wanting to exit the West by 2025 or in early 2025, America to Africa, whether it's West Africa, East Africa, Southern Africa, wherever you want to go, even if it's North Africa. Do not become so anxious. Do not be quick to hurry up and purchase land. Do not be quick to hurry up and get in these large communities. Do not distract yourself, because that's also how you can get a lot of burden on yourself for no reason. You really need to, in these times, get used to being okay with being alone for a season so that you can properly hear from the Most High, even hear from yourself and your inner man, to even know who to trust and how to operate. Because when you're coming somewhere new, you may have to learn a new language. We've had to learn new languages. Like, we're in a country that doesn't speak English as the main language, so you may have to learn a new language and understand a culture and understand how to operate and to befriend locals. And then on top of that, you want to go and build all of these vast communities and all of these vast things, and you're putting too much pressure on yourself. That's why the scripture says, don't be anxious for anything, but by prayer and supplication make your requests known to the Most High, so you can move in wisdom and discretion and discernment, so you can have a peaceableness about your spirit and not this hasty, hasty, hasty. There's a time and season for hasty, but you don't just, after you exit America, there's no reason to keep being overly hasty, overly hasty, overly hasty. Shalom, shalom, Pastor Rick.
Mhm.
You're so nice, Gigi.
Yeah, I know. Just from the conversation we've been having the last couple of days, everything is increasing. Um, because we are literally learning certain things that um we didn't know. So I know it gets to a certain level where it's like, dang, we know so much. Like, dang, we know so much truth. We know a lot of things that's happening in this world, and then you learn something else. Your knowledge will increase. So everything is increasing in these last days. You just have to be in the right mindset, and you got to be able to accept the truth and not the fake, because there is going there. It's just a lot of fakeness in the world now,
Mm.
where truth is just so uncomfortable for a lot of people. So you have to learn how to accept the truth. Like, really.
Yeah, that's true. There is a lot of fakeness in the world with the age of AI. I think that adds a new level and layer of fakeness. Then there's also a lot of hatred in the world. Not that there hasn't always been hatred in the world, with different wars and different ancient civilizations.
Mhm.
But I think that we were in a period, maybe from the 1950s
Go
onward,
ahead.
that seemed like it was just kind of steady. But you're getting back into that huge worldwide tension where you see tension all over, and not literally in every country, but you do have these hotspots like Western society, Middle Eastern society, obviously Russia, Ukraine, obviously China, Taiwan, that have these little pockets of hotspots that they're just ticking time bombs ready to just explode, basically. And so you want to understand, okay, I need to be somewhere that's the Switzerland in all this. I need to be in a country that's the Switzerland. And that's where the research comes in to see who really is in control behind the scenes in certain African countries. Because that's also going to dictate how your life is, what the
Hmm.
monetary system is like. That is going to dictate a lot. And these are things that nobody really knows or talks about because nobody really thinks about it. But you have to start thinking from a strategic standpoint and understand the dynamics, because that is literally the times we are in.
Exactly. And you gotta realize, like, the people that's here on the ground, really take their advice, really understand, like, they've been here. So you really have to take what they say serious.
Yeah, whoever they are, they've been here. Facts.
Really.
Facts. Yeah. I mean, I remember when we did consultations back when we were trying to move to Africa with Melanin Migration. Shout out to Melanin Migration, fabulous channel, fabulous sister. But we were willing to learn and we didn't question what she was saying because we knew we didn't have the authority to question somewhere that we hadn't been.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, she was the one with more wisdom, even to this day, more wisdom as it relates to going to multiple countries. So you really have to put the pride aside is what it comes down to. Pride comes before a fall. If you move with pride over from America to Africa and you don't receive the information and strategy that you need, you just set yourself up for failure. You might as well just stay in America for all that because you have too many things going on when you move from one country, one continent to another continent. From state to state, the culture is different. How much more from continent to continent, where you have to
Mm-hmm.
learn to be obedient? But you should, realistically speaking, you should already be obedient. Like, this shouldn't be something that's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm only going to be obedient to wisdom when I move to Africa. Ideally, hopefully, you're someone that's already obedient to the Most High's wisdom. Meaning, literally, if a rock talks to you and it's wisdom and truth coming out, because the Most High is like, I can literally raise up a rock to be the seeds for Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
I can literally make wisdom come from a donkey. And so you have to be that humble and that ready to accept the advice that the Most High is trying to give, because the Most High, from his perspective, he's just trying to help his children. That's all he's trying to do. He just wants to help his children. But pride will have you thinking perverse other thoughts. Pride will have you like, no, that's not, no, I don't think it should come like that. No, 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 no. Well, now you're in a struggle. Now you're battling with principalities
Mm-hmm.
when your life could have been easier if you would just accept help.
Yeah, you gotta have a solid foundation, and you can move anywhere in the world and be good. And if your solid foundation is the Most High and Yahushua Mashiach and biblical principles and the Torah and stuff, if you live like that, you'll be good anywhere you go. Anywhere you go, like really.
Yeah, because you operate in the fruits of the spirit, and the fruits of the spirit will be the dictator that shows you if you're really operating in that.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you say you're operating it and then you don't, well, you just made yourself out to be a liar.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a problem. Then you're going to encounter lots of issues because you have to have integrity when you go places. Integrity will guard you. Integrity will literally guard you so that even if something corrupt happens to you, there will be that one person that hasn't, not even one person, really in the scripture, it said 7,000 that haven't bowed the knee to Baal. But in your situation, it may be the one or two people that haven't bowed the knee to Baal, that haven't bowed the knee to greed, corruption, witchcraft, whatever it is. And that integrity will help you. And then you'll be around more people with integrity as you start practicing more and more integrity and kindness.
Mm.
But if you deceive yourself and lie to yourself, then well, you're probably already having issues in America. You can't go into other countries like that. You really have to be honest. You have to be full of integrity. You move with wisdom. You be kind. You be discreet. And yeah, it's really simple. It's actually not that difficult at all. They're just simple life principles, things that unfortunately shouldn't have to be said, but they do have to be said because we're in the last days where it says men will become selfish, jealous, hateful, lovers of selves,
Yeah,
lovers of pleasure.
and I was about to say, like, you really only like the only people that really act like this that like that is Americans, like from
Mm,
America, like just from our travels, like the local people that we run across, they're very humble and they really follow like the laws of the Bible,
yeah,
like really. Even though they might be Muslim or something, or Hindu or whatever, Christian or whatever their religion is, they still have a solid foundation where um, their principles is solid.
right.
So just for example, our taxi driver recently, we had to get our phone screen fixed, and he actually paid for it because he just knew like, okay, I'm not gonna um stress them about like like you, because and I guess Tanzania is different than the country that we're in now. Like that was like over $100. You're not gonna get that from a local person
Mm-mm.
unless he's like very humble and understanding of, okay, I can do this. He asked me to drop it off. He's not with me, so I'm just pay for it. I know he's a good
I
guy.
would just have his back.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and even if he can't pay me today, even if it's 2 days from now, it's okay. So it's just like, man, the Most High really put people in our life like that just because we are obedient and we really doing the work of the Most High. We have the foundation down, and He's not gonna bring crazy people around us. He's gonna bring the right type of people like that around us, and it's just a blessing to see. Like really, like wow.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But yeah, y'all, that's pretty much the basis of the live
Mhm.
2025. What is the state of the diaspora in Africa? Well, the state of the diaspora in Africa is that it is well with the folks that are living in Africa full time. There's more opportunities coming on the continent. There's more favor. There's more networks being open, doors being open. One thing I can say, back to your question you asked earlier, saying what's the difference between moving to Africa in 2020 versus 2025. 2020, there weren't as many networks and doors open. 2025, there's many more doors open. 2020, you didn't
Yeah,
see as many digital nomad visas. Obviously, there weren't as many African Americans already on the ground. You could not see these glimpses into mostly every country to see which one you want to live in during 2020.
yeah.
We
I was
kind of
about to
went
say,
in
I
blind,
think
not
it's
blind,
more
but
exactly. I think it's a
kind
more
of.
of an understanding, definitely for us. It's just more of an understanding. So if you follow the people that's been here in Africa and really understand like what's the times that we're in, because in 2020 when we first got here, it was
Mhm.
like like it just seemed more of like a vacation, like a new thing, and we're trying to figure it out. But
Our mind was
yeah,
different.
our mindset was different. So now in 2025, I know especially for us,
Did she just almost fall asleep?
especially especially for us, our understanding increased about what needs to be done um, to stay here long term in Africa. Like really.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's I think it's hard the first time you come to Africa to think so serious minded because you're like, but it's so gorgeous. Look at all of the melanated people. You just want to have a great time. So you can, relate to that. But there is a time and season for everything because again, from 2020 to 2025, the thing you're also seeing is the economy is different. What
Hmm.
popped off easily in 2020 doesn't necessarily do it that easily in 2025. Even when you think from a business standpoint, you really have to go in strategically. There's not just a lot of frivolous currency flowing. People make more strategic decisions now. And so that means really sit and be strategic and understand the times we're in. Some of that grounding does come from watching the news, though. I know a lot of people are like, no, don't watch any news, just be in la la land forever. And it's like, there's a balance to everything. There's a time for all things. That's what the book of Ecclesiastes says. Like there's literally a time for everything. There's a time for laughter, there's a time for crying, there's a time for all things, which means there's also a time to pay attention to the times. See what's happening so you can discern the things of the spirit and be of the right sober mindset. That's why the Bible says be sober because your adversary is going around seeking whom he may devour. Be
Hmm.
sober and vigilant, be very sober in these times because that is another difference. Like you were asking earlier, from 2020 to 2025, although you have more information, as far as a resource standpoint, you may not have the leeway that was available in 2020
Hmm.
when there were stimulus checks, PPP, there are all these different things that were going out. 2025 is going to be much different when it's literally World War III. Because, by the way, y'all remember 2022 was when the Russia Ukraine war popped off. That impacted grain all over the world. So, that alone was a big thing that popped off after 2020. Now we are in 2024 going into 2025, where now not only is there Russia Ukraine, but there's Israel. What's the other? Has Hamas?
Iran now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
in
sorry,
Gaza
y'all.
and yeah.
I'm trying with the name. There's so many countries. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that conflict. And then there's also the conflict that's starting to brew with China and Taiwan. And then there's also the conflict in Sudan and Congo. And so there's a lot of things that is a huge difference from 2020 to 2025. You do have to be more strategic, but it's a blessing and it's a
Hmm.
grace that's applied when the Most High is literally raising up people to go and show these different diverse areas in Africa and honestly other parts of the world where our people can come in and start to lay hold of the land, start to build up, start to acquire property, or come to an area of safety where they can serve and be of service, whatever it is that your lineage and you have specifically been called to do. There is
Hmm.
grace in that matter. So that's one beautiful thing, even though, so it's like with the Most High, for every problem, there's a solution.
Hmm.
There's not just going to be a problem with no solution. You just have to discern what the problem is and discern what the solution to the problem is.
Yep. And now is the time to, if you want to, if the Most High is telling you to go on this journey, now's the time to pick a country where uh your residency is going to be good for years at a time.
Mm,
It's not time to hop visas, really get to the continent, start something solid, have a
mm,
foundation somewhere.
yeah.
And then after that, if you want to go hop countries, that's okay. But
Right.
I know for us that's something that the Most High put on my heart like heavy, where it's like, yeah, it's time to like settle down somewhere. Like you got to get long-term residency somewhere.
Yep.
So
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So you can have that second residence, second home base. 100%. What country do you recommend for South Africa? Well, there's a multitude. It could be Botswana, it could be Namibia, Zambia. I think it'd be easier to say what I don't recommend. I wouldn't necessarily recommend Zimbabwe or Malawi. I haven't heard very good things out of those two countries. I haven't seen good things. And as far as their visa requirements, they're quite stringent. And so I wouldn't recommend those two. But aside from those, everywhere else in the Southern Africa region is actually really good. Mostly all of them are on the least corrupt list. Stable
mm,
economies, peaceful index, like they're Southern Africa tends to be one of the most, probably the most stable region in Africa, to be honest. Because if you look at North Africa, you have the proximity to the wars. West Africa, though I love my family in West Africa, being a West African, it tends to be that the only safe, stable country there is typically Ghana, and the most developed is usually Ghana, where you don't have too much corruption taking place.
I tell you this, it really depends on you and what African country will best fit you. Because I know Southern Africa, because we was just talking about this on the roof, how in Tanzania it was 3 to 6 month times, like you got to pay rent all at
Mm-hmm.
once, three months at a time, 6 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And West Africa is pretty much the same thing, or 12 months at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Africa is month to month,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like that feels good.
We
Like
forgot how
going, like,
good that
yeah,
feels.
that yeah, um, yeah, because coming from Tanzania, where luckily for us, we negotiated 3 months every time,
Mm-hmm.
so then don't have to pay 3 months at a time and just do month to month. Oh, that feels pretty nice.
Yeah, you forget how good that is.
So just kind of giving people some hints of, hey, what is going to fit best for you.
Right,
If
right.
you want to pay a year at a time, if you got it like that, go ahead. Make sure your residence visa and stuff is good before you do that, or you got a plan. Um, but month to month sound is very nice.
Yeah, it is. Forgot how nice it is. It's
Yeah.
real good, real nice. Make because even when you deal with ATMs in Africa, or at least in Tanzania, I don't know how South African ATM. I assume they're similar because ATMs in this specific country are similar. They you can only take small amounts in one day. Like you won't be able to take out $1,000 in one day because the currency is so much lower. That's
No,
something.
you
That's a
can't.
logistical thing
No, it just
that you
depends
have to
on
be
your
aware of.
depends on your bank. Cause we could did that in Tanzania, but it's just um yeah, you'll be at the ATM all day pretty much.
But when we were in America, we could take out 1,000 a day.
Yeah,
But in Tanzania, you
but
literally
that's the
it'll stop you
currency.
at 430.
Yeah, like
It'll
at
stop you
once.
from, yeah,
No, not even.
not 400, not even four hundred thirty
Yeah,
dollars.
it would be like um no, it'd be yeah, it'd be like 1,000, but you have to continue taking, like literally I had to do like 4 transactions to get $1,000 out.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, same thing
Because
here.
the currency.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
same
in
thing here with
America
the
the
currency.
currency is stronger, so $1,000 like
Because it's USD, so you
yeah,
just pull it out.
yeah, thousand
Yeah.
dollars not a lot in America.
That's a dynamic people don't think of though till you land and you're like, why do I have to pull this out the ATM 50 times?
Hmm.
And then you capped at your limit because at the bank and you wherever it is, that bank may be like, well, that's enough transactions for the day. Then you really have to think about the tiny logistical details that you do not think about. Those are the things that matter in Africa, where it's like, oh, this could be an all day experience if I don't plan this out correctly.
Yeah,
This will be an all day
you
experience. A
gotta know
simple
the
thing
right
could be an all day experience.
the right places to go, like really, like for real. Because I like me, I pay attention to the ATMs that I go to, and
Mhm.
that's like see certain things, little things that.
The
So yeah,
nuances of moving from America to
so
Africa.
yeah,
But once
that's
you
the
understand those
diaspora though.
nuances, right? Once you understand those
Yes.
nuances, it's an easy coast. You just coasting, you just living. You're just
Mhm.
enjoying life. Flexibility,
Okay,
your
you got
time ownership, your
my son
freedom.
cookies. What's
You
your
know,
favorite
also
color?
going to a place where homeschool is legal is very beneficial as well.
Oh, and going to a place where school is free.
Yeah,
Like
that's excellent
he
too.
told me today.
I
He's like,
told you.
government school here is free.
I knew that. I told you. You know,
I'm
I'm
like,
doing my
oh,
research. I knew that before we came.
we might have to put some children in school.
No, I didn't. Mm-mm. I got very clear instructions. I got to stay on my straight and narrow path. I got very clear instructions for the 10 generations, as we were talking about. Come with large denominations and convert them. Right, right. You don't even come. Look, if you're trying to exchange money, don't try exchange a $5 bill. That ain't gonna work, ma'am. So they're gonna look at you like
See,
they. That's how they're gonna look at you, and you're gonna be like, "What? What's
you gotta start
wrong?"
moving, or you're gonna get
Uh-uh.
awful.
Exchange large notes. Bantu Lisa is right. Shout out to Bantu Lisa, our moderator. She always. But yeah, Africa, you want distance and to create dissonance and separation from a slowly collapsing empire, right? You see the multipolar movement of BRICS. You see the writing on the wall, but you have a little bit of leverage because the US dollar is stronger than it's ever been for a little while. Take that leverage and exit. Take that leverage and exit. Because I believe that you don't need to struggle. I believe you're worthy of stepping on a plane. I believe you're worthy of freedom. I believe you're worthy of living your life on a different continent that is not America trying to kill itself from the inside out. That's my
Yeah,
personal belief for you, my brother, my sister.
yeah. I believe that fear stops a lot of people, and you can't allow that. So that means that you just gotta increase your faith, like really. And to increase your faith, you might as well just hop on a plane and go. That's the ultimate faith, I believe. Like if you going
Yeah.
somewhere very new, like I look back, like man, we really just did it. We ain't know nothing
We ain't know
about
nothing,
the
child. The
country that
stuff
we's
y'all know,
going.
child, we ain't know nothing.
That's some real true faith right there.
Yeah, in this country, we didn't even know nobody.
Yeah.
We did not know nobody, but we knew Yah.
Mhm.
And so if we knew Yah, that's all I need. That's all I need to know. I don't need to know nothing else. If I know the
Mhm.
Most High and His plan, and I receive divine insight, that's it. You can't tell me nothing after I got His plan. You can't tell me nothing.
Mhm. But yeah, you
Thank
gotta
you, Lady
pay
Jace
attention.
Black Eyed View. We appreciate it.
Somebody said Kenya now wants to join BRICS. I think Uganda. I think Uganda just joined BRICS too.
East Africa.
Yeah, the first East African country. So, man, you gotta like pay attention to things that's happening here in Africa, things that's happening really all around the world to really make your next move, your next 5 to 10 year move. Like really.
Yeah, because we are literally going to see the total flip of these different Western empires, and it's not in just one way. It's not just in an economic way. It's in a popular. And I say this in so many videos because it's such a big deal, but they don't talk about it as much as it needs to be talked about. How these Western populations and some Asian populations, not many, but some, these Western populations, they really can't repopulate, and so it's literally like a trajectory of death where it's
Mhm.
literally there's not going to be a lot of humans in those areas. You're going to live in a world where the vast and America only, by the way, houses 4% of the total Earth's population. Now, how much smaller is that number going to be once depopulation comes into full effect? That four is going to turn to 2%, and the bulk of humanity is going to be in Africa. The bulk of humanity is already in Africa. How much more is that going to be true in the next 10 to 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years? That's, we're just going back to the origin. The Most High said he knows the end from the beginning. We're literally going back to the beginning of how things were,
Mhm.
back to the origin land, the motherland. The only place on earth to be is the motherland. But, thanks to the Most High, the motherland's very great, and it's not lacking any good thing. The motherland, you got choices in the motherland. You have lots of choices. You look, you're not even stuck with just a couple countries, and then things are shifting so quickly and so wonderfully. There's different legislations coming out to benefit you based on, whether you're of retirement age, whether you're a digital nomad, whether you're a self-employed investor, whether you're in supply chain, agriculture. There's all these different pieces of favor, rebates, all these things available for you, but it's not free. And when I say it's not free, I mean you have to put some research work in, some inquiry work in. That's the work you got to do. And you can't expect to do anything less. You know, you can't just literally be handed a silver plate. I don't think anybody has came in your life, even if you had to go get a job, you had to go look for the job and interview for the job. Most of the time, that's the footwork you had to do to obtain that job. And so it's the same thing when you're looking for where you're going to be in Africa, how you're going to sustain yourself, how you're going to stay long term, all these things, very logistical things that take footwork. And it doesn't have to take a whole lot of resources if you know how to do the right footwork of researching and inquiring. Strategy. Strategy is like my favorite word. It's such an important word. And strategy just means seeing things from a higher, broad perspective and being able to put those puzzle pieces together so you can make a plan for the future that's fail proof. That's strategy. So yeah, that's about it for this video, right?
Mhm.
That's about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks guys for tuning in. Make sure you like the video if you haven't. Stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I noticed like some people was saying that YouTube unsubscribed them and they had to resubscribe.
Oh, okay.
So, if you're not subscribed yet, or if you was a subscriber and you don't know you're a subscriber, subscribe, just check. So we appreciate everyone for joining us. Make sure you stay tuned for State of Diaspora 2025, because these are things that we are going to be discussing pretty much with visa, residency, like the little details, the little gems that we caught up on here, just been here 4 years in Africa, and we share with you guys. So stay tuned for State of Diaspora. And yeah,
Yes, I'm gonna go drink some tea. And that's about, I don't know what else to do. Drink some tea. That's about it. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else. Yeah, we've already showed real estate that's available. Look at our videos. We didn't create a playlist though. Maybe so you'd have to just scroll through and see
yeah,
which videos. Maybe we'll create a playlist.
yeah, and pretty much
Layla Tov Lala Salama.
all the houses that we go visit is available. But I think it's just best to be here.
Yeah, you 100% want to be here.
You
We
gotta be here. You
be
can't just be
here.
like, oh, okay, y'all, because you gotta put that down payment and everything. So yeah.
Yeah. Don't get got. I'm gonna just say it is the PS in the closing. Don't buy no property, no land, no nothing till you in the country and your feet are on that land, that property, that house, whatever it is. Okay. And
Hmm.
that's what I'm gonna leave you with. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom, family.
Shalom. Hallelujah.